Oh man, yeah, The Nutcracker. One of the worst films ever made, with hip-hop and Holocaust metaphors and John Turturro as a rat in an Andy Warhol wig and Nathan Lane as Albert Einstein. I know, this sounds like it's fun bad, but no, it's just terrible. Do not watch it. I'm Alonso Duralde, and I'm a Tomato Meter approved critic. Today on Critical Thinking, we're talking about rotten holiday movies that I love. I'm a film critic, podcaster, and author of Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas, now available in a revised and updated new edition. I'm kind of an expert about Christmas movies, so the folks at Rotten Tomatoes asked me to take a look at the Tomato Meter and pick movies that are currently branded rotten that I would deem fresh.
You know what I want more than anything? What? A compliment.
And then I said, yes, I'd be happy to do that, but can I also pick some movies that are currently deemed fresh that I would call rotten?
I really don't like them.
I've always loved Christmas movies, and I think that one of the cool things about Christmas movies is that whatever kind of film you like, it eventually butts up against Christmas one way or another. So whether you like documentaries or musicals or slashers, there's a Christmas movie for you. When I wrote this book in 2010, Christmas movies had not quite exploded to the place that they're at now. But I find it fascinating to sort of dig into the many kinds of movies that can be a Christmas movie. And I also wanted to create a guide for people where, yes, of course, you want to talk about Elf and Miracle on 34th Street, but there's a case to be made that, Eyes Wide Shut and Metropolitan and Gremlins are also Christmas movies. And if you enjoy them at Christmas time, more power to you. I've had people tell me, oh, well, my family watches The Sound of Music every Christmas, and I think of that as a Christmas movie. I'm like, okay, sure, knock yourself out. And My Favorite Things has somehow become a carol because it mentions snowflakes and packages, I guess. But I will die on the hill that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and I can't believe we're still having this nonsense argument.
Yippee-ki-yay! Merry Christmas!
I can't pick one favorite Christmas movie, but to quote Isaac Mizrahi, I'm an American and I'm not made of stone, so of course I gotta go with It's a Wonderful Life. It's a movie that tells you everything that you want to hear in a Christmas movie. It's about the redemptive power of family and community. It's about people finding their best selves. I've always said that George Bailey, Ebenezer Scrooge, and Kevin McAllister all have the same character arc. They're all in a bad place, they get a glimpse at an alternate life, and they come to realize that they've got it pretty good after all.
Hey, that's pretty good.
These films have all been deemed rotten. I disagree. Noelle stars Anna Kendrick as Santa's daughter. Her brother, played by Bill Hader, is all set to inherit the Santa empire, but he is not ready. And it turns out that maybe Noelle is the one who would fit best into Santa's boots after all. This movie's really charming and funny. It has one of the great sort of North Poles we've gotten in a Santa movie. And Anna Kendrick is just funny and fresh. She understands the assignment here. And it's a film that is loaded with lots of great supporting characters. Julie Hagerty and Shirley MacLaine and Billy Eichner, just to name a few. I think that Noelle deserves better than a rotten rating on the Tomato Meter. It wound up going straight to Disney Plus rather than theaters where it was originally intended to go. And I don't know, maybe people might have taken it more seriously on the big screen.
I'm not sure about this.
The first time Noelle does the Santa route by herself and makes a few mistakes along the way, but then ultimately figures out that she's got this. It's one of my favorite Christmas movie moments.
She says, Merry Christmas, Santa.
Santa?
I don't know that subdued is the word I would use to describe Noelle. It goes pretty big, and it takes some pretty big swings at the idea of the patriarchy of Santa Claus, and just, I don't know, as a Christmas movie in general, I think it is trying things and more often than not succeeding.
Thank you, Michelle. I needed that.
A lot of critics dismissed Unaccompanied Minors as a Home Alone ripoff because it's about a group of resourceful children of divorce who find themselves snowed into a Midwest airport as they're being shuttled from one parent to another over the holiday season. But it's Paul Feig coming off of Freaks and Geeks a few years before Bridesmaids, and so the comedic shenanigans are funny. The cast is great. The kids are wonderful, including Tyler James Williams, who would go on to do Everybody Hates Chris and Abbott Elementary, and Brett Kelly from Bad Santa. And there's cameos from comedic heavyweights like Jessica Walter, Mindy Kaling, Rob Corddry, and Terry Garr playing a woman whose Christmas decorations are so aggressive they actually frighten passersby. Yeah, I think it's more than a rehash of other movies. I mean, like I said, it is a post-Home Alone film about kids getting the jump on adults, but I think it has its own voice and its own tone, and it's a movie that I find really delightful. Granted, it also helps that when I saw Unaccompanied Minors, I still had never seen Home Alone. The best Christmas movies have a big sentimental ending, and this one doesn't disappoint. The kids bring Christmas to all of these travelers who are stuck in this airport, and it's really sweet. And for a movie that has mainly been about running around and slapstick wildness, it really delivers the heart of the movie.
No! Rags! Oh my God! No! Rags! I'm trying to get down, Rags. Good boy. Get on. Go on, Rags.
I would argue that, especially when it comes to Christmas movies, cloying smarm is in the eye of the beholder, because you go back and you read the reviews of movies like White Christmas or Christmas in Connecticut that we consider classics now, and critics at the time thought they were, sentimental hogwash. And I would argue that come December, sentimental hogwash is kind of what we're in the market for. So if you found Love the Coopers smarmy, I get it. But for me, it checks a lot of the boxes of what I look for in a Christmas movie. A top-notch comedic ensemble, including a young Timothée Chalamet, and a film that I think takes its characters seriously and provides some real depth to them. I think the scenes with Marissa Tomei and Anthony Mackie, for instance, really go to a place that I was not expecting in a wacky Christmas comedy. Jake Lacy and Olivia Wilde have terrific chemistry. Diane Keaton and John Goodman are wonderful together. There's a lot of treats to be found here. The ongoing getting to know you scene in the airport where Olivia Wilde is convincing Jake Lacy to come home with her and be her fake boyfriend is, I think, one of the better examples I've seen of two people very quickly falling for each other, learning about each other, bantering with each other. It takes a real skill, I think, to write that sort of thing and to act it, and I think they pull it off pretty well here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Then there are the movies that a majority of critics liked, but I was not in the majority of critics. So it's often the case with a movie that the book was better, but for The Man Who Invented Christmas, there are two books that were better. First of all, of course, is A Christmas Carol, an undeniable classic, but also Les Standiford's The Man Who Invented Christmas, which is a great nonfiction book about how Dickens wrote the novel in the first place and the impact that A Christmas Carol had on the way that people celebrated Christmas, the way that people think about Christmas. And one of the problems with the movie of The Man Who Invented Christmas is they never explain how he invented Christmas. They leave that part out. And I think if you're going to call a film The Man Who Invented Christmas, you might want to get into that a little bit rather than just take it as read. I mean, Christopher Plummer is a great Ebenezer Scrooge, and I wish we could have gotten to see him play the role in a more straightforward adaptation. But this is also one of those movies where they talk about how foggy London is, but it's very, very bright on the soundstage. And it's also the kind of movie that reduces Charles Dickens to a stenographer, because seemingly everywhere he goes, people are spouting off the best lines from A Christmas Carol, and he's just jotting them down.
Humbug.
Weirdly enough, the audience is with me, and that almost never happens to me on Rotten Tomatoes. As we record this, it's at 60%, which is right at the edge of fresh and rotten, and maybe at some point somebody will just push it to the other side. I would argue that this isn't even second-tier John Woo, and believe me, John Woo is a master at action cinema. This year we got new 4Ks of some of his classic films like Hard Boiled and A Better Tomorrow, and either of those will be a much better Christmas watch than Silent Night. This movie is kind of lumbering, but it's also really ugly. Like, there are some Hispanic gangbanger stereotypes that feel like they're right out of a 1980s Canon Films production. I found this film really kind of ugly at its heart, which even for a violent Christmas movie about one man's vendetta against the people who killed his family, just didn't play for me. And it's a disappointment because I think John Woo is a great filmmaker. There were a lot of people really excited about his comeback, and I hope he still has one, but this wasn't it.
You hate Christmas.
I find it hilarious when I write a negative review and somebody on social media says, well, you hate movies. Yes, I hate movies. That's why I have dedicated my entire life to podcasts about movies and books about movies and writing about movies and watching hundreds of movies every year because I hate them so much. No, critics get mad at bad movies because critics love movies so much, and we're that much more disappointed when we see something that isn't good. I think critics walk into every screening hoping to be blown away, hoping to see something they've never seen before, hoping to feel things, hoping to react, hoping to see somebody do something they've never seen before, or take cinema in a direction that it's never gone before. And so when we get something that isn't even trying, that is just lazily copying other formulas, that is just there to make some money on opening weekend and then disappear from the public consciousness, yeah, we get irritated by it.
Kids today, so desensitized by movies and television.
You know, I don't think you can look at red and green as being the fully Christmas colors, by the way. I don't think you can look at red and green as being the final, verdict necessarily on a movie. I said the same thing when thumbs up and down was all the craze. There's a lot of gray area in between those two poles. One of the great tools about Rotten Tomatoes is that it gives you access to so many different film critics. It's kind of a clearinghouse for film criticism on the internet, and it will point you in all the different directions that you might want to go, and you should look at Rotten Tomatoes as your first stop when you're looking at analysis of a film. But then rather than stop at the big number at the top of the page, dig through, start finding the critics that you find interesting, the ones that you agree with, the ones that you always disagree with, the ones that challenge you, the ones that make you see a movie in a way that you hadn't thought about before. Start reading those critics, not just the blurb that you see on RT, but click through, read the whole review. There's a link to it on the page, and go see what other critics said in full, beyond the one sentence that appears on Rotten Tomatoes, and let that inform the way that you think about movies, the way that you watch films in the future. It might kind of open your eyes to a different way of looking at movies than what you're accustomed to.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Again, the book is Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas, the revised and updated edition, now available wherever books are sold. Have a wonderful holiday season, and I'm right about everything.